Time is the only thing you can never get back, and you're wasting it like you have forever. Warren Buffett, one of the richest humans alive, says he can buy anything except time. Every second that passes is gone forever. Every hour you waste is an hour you'll never recover. So how are you spending your time? Are you investing it or wasting it? Because there's a massive difference. Watching educational content is investing. Scrolling mindlessly is wasting. Reading books is investing. Gossiping is wasting. Working on your business is investing. Playing video games for hours is wasting. I'm not saying you can never relax. I'm saying you need to be intentional about it. If you consciously decide to take an hour to watch a show and recharge, that's fine. But 6 hours of unconscious scrolling, that's time theft. You're stealing from your future self. The Stoics understood this. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "It is not death that a man should fear, but he should fear never beginning to live." You're not living. You're existing. You're going through the motions. You're on autopilot. Wake up. Every day you delay is a day you'll never get back. Every opportunity you let pass is gone forever. Every moment you waste is a moment someone else is using to get ahead. And yes, that creates pressure. Good. Pressure creates diamonds. Comfort creates nothing. You need to feel the urgency of your mortality, not in a morbid way, but in a motivating way. You don't have forever. Your parents won't be here forever. Your kids won't be young forever. Your health won't last forever. So what are you waiting for? What's the perfect moment you're holding out for? It doesn't exist. There's only now, this moment, this breath. What are you going to do with it? Fear is running your life, and you won't admit it. You say you don't have time, but really you're afraid of failure. You say you're waiting for the right moment, but really you're afraid of judgment. You say you're not ready, but really you're afraid of success and what it might require of you. Susan Jeffers wrote, "Feel the fear and do it anyway for a reason, because fear never goes away. You're waiting to feel brave before you act. That day never comes." Courage isn't the absence of fear. It's action in the presence of fear. Every successful person you admire is afraid. The difference is they don't let fear make the decision. They feel it, acknowledge it, thank it for trying to protect them, and do the thing anyway. Think about what fear has cost you already. The business you didn't start, a relationship you didn't pursue, the conversation you didn't have, the risk you didn't take. How many years have you lost to fear? How much potential has fear stolen from you? And how much more are you willing to let it take? Brené Brown's research on vulnerability shows that the people who live the most wholehearted, fulfilled lives are the ones willing to be seen, to be imperfect, to risk rejection and failure. To risk rejection and failure, because on the other side of that vulnerability is connection, growth, and meaning. You can play it safe and have a small, predictable, regretful life. Or you can take risks and possibly fail, but also possibly create something extraordinary. The choice is yours. But understand this, not deciding is a decision. Not taking a risk is a risk. The risk of regret. The risk of wondering, what if, for the rest of your life. Don't let that be your story. Your environment is controlling you, and you don't even realize it. Dr. Joe Dispenza explains that your environment signals your brain constantly. When you wake up in the same bedroom, see the same people, drive the same route, do the same job, your brain predicts the same future. You're hardwired into the same patterns. This is why changing your environment is crucial for change. If everyone around you is negative, you'll be negative. If everyone around you is broke and making excuses, you'll stay broke. If everyone around you is unhealthy and talking about their problems, you'll be unhealthy. You don't think you're being influenced, but neuroscience proves otherwise. Mirror neurons cause you to unconsciously mimic the people you spend time with. Their habits become your habits. Their beliefs become your beliefs. Their standards become your standards. Jim Rohn famously said, "You're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with." Look around. Who are your 5? Are they where you want to be? Are they growing? Are they pushing you to be better? Or are they comfortable, complacent, and trying to keep you at their level? If it's the latter, you need to change your circle. I know that's hard. I know they're your friends, maybe your family, but you have to choose their comfort or your growth. You cannot have both. Find mentors, join masterminds, attend conferences and events. Put yourself in rooms where you're the least successful person there. It'll be uncomfortable, it'll be humbling, but it'll change your standards. When you're around excellence, you rise to meet it. When you're around mediocrity, you sink to match it. Your environment isn't neutral. Choose wisely. Let me tell you about the compound effect, because this is the secret most people never understand. Darren Hardy wrote a whole book on this principle. Small, smart choices made consistently over time create radical results. But here's the trap. You can't see the results in the beginning, so you quit. You work out for 2 weeks and see no change, so you quit. You save $50 a week and feel like it's pointless, so you quit. You read 10 pages a day and feel like you're not learning fast enough, so you quit. You're giving up right before the compound effect kicks in. James Clear explains that if you improve 1% every day for a year, you'll be 37 times better by the end. But if you get 1% worse every day, you'll decline to nearly 0. 1% seems like nothing, but compounded over time, it's everything. The problem is we live in a microwave culture that wants instant results. We want the body in 30 days. We want the wealth in 6 months. We want the relationship without doing the work. But nature doesn't work that way. A bamboo tree is planted, and for 5 years you see nothing. Not a single shoot above ground. But underground it's developing a massive root system. Then in the 6th year, it grows 90 feet in 6 weeks. That's the compound effect. That's how real growth works. You're planting seeds right now that you can't see yet. But if you keep watering them, if you stay consistent, if you trust the process, they will break through. The question is, will you quit before they do? Or will you have the faith to keep going when you can't see progress? Because I promise you, the progress is happening underground. Delius is not your enemy, it's your greatest teacher. Thomas Edison failed 10,000 times before inventing the light bulb. Michael Jordan was cut from his high school basketball team. Oprah was fired from her first TV job and told she was unfit for television. J.K. Rowling was rejected by 12 publishers before Harry Potter got published. Colonel Sanders was rejected 1,009 times before someone bought his chicken recipe. These people didn't successful despite failure. They succeeded because of failure. Each failure taught them something. Each rejection refined them. Each setback brought them closer to what worked. The only real failure is quitting. Everything else is feedback. But our culture has taught us to be ashamed of failure, to hide it, to avoid it at all costs. So we play small. We don't take risks. We don't put ourselves out there. We wonder why we're stuck. You need to reframe failure. When something doesn't work, don't say I'm a failure. Say, That approach didn't work. What's next? When you get rejected, don't say, I'm not good enough. Say, they weren't the right fit. Who's next? When you lose money, don't say, I'm bad with money. Say, I learned an expensive lesson. What will I do differently? See the difference. One is identity. You are not your results. You are the person creating results. And if you have the power to create different ones, but you have to be willing to fail repeatedly. You have to be willing to look foolish, to make mistakes publicly, to fall and get back up. That's the path. There's no way around it. Everyone winning has lost multiple times. They just didn't let the loss define them. Gratitude will change your brain chemistry. Dr. Robert Emmons, the world's leading gratitude researcher, has proven that practicing gratitude increases dopamine and serotonin, reduces cortisol, improves sleep quality, strengthens your immune system, and makes you more resilient. But most people misunderstand gratitude. They think it's toxic positivity, pretending everything's perfect when it's not. Real gratitude is acknowledging what's working while you fix what's not. You can be grateful for your health while working to improve it. You can be grateful for your job while building your business. You can be grateful for where you are while working toward where you want to be. Gratitude and ambition are not opposites, they're partners. Every successful person practices gratitude daily. Oprah has kept a gratitude journal for decades. Tony Robbins starts every morning with a gratitude practice. Tim Ferriss asks himself every morning, what am I grateful for? Not because their lives are perfect, but because they understand that what you focus on expands. If you focus on what's missing, you'll always feel lack. If you focus on what's present, you'll feel abundance. And that feeling state attracts more abundance. This isn't spiritual woo-woo. This is neuroscience. Your reticular activating system filters reality based on what you focus on. If you're focused on problems, you'll see more problems. If you're focused on opportunities, you'll see more opportunities. Gratitude literally rewires your brain to see possibility instead of limitation. Start a daily practice. Every morning, write down 3 things you're grateful for. Not the same 3 things. 3 new things. Train your brain to hunt for the good. Watch what happens to your life when you do this consistently for 90 days. Action cures everything. All the knowledge in the world is useless without application. All the therapy, books, podcasts, and advice mean nothing if you don't act on them. Mel Robbins teaches the 5-second rule. When you have an instinct to act on a goal, count backward 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and physically move. Why? Because your brain will talk you out of it if you give it time. Your brain is designed to keep you safe, not help you grow. So it'll manufacture reasons to stay in bed, to not make the call, to not start the project. But if you move within 5 seconds, you interrupt that pattern. You override the hesitation. Most people wait for motivation before acting. That's backward. Motivation comes after action, not before. You don't feel like going to the gym, but you go anyway, and halfway through, you feel motivated. You don't feel like working on your business, but you start anyway, and an hour later, you're in flow. Action creates momentum. Momentum creates results. Results creates motivation. Motivation creates more action. It's a cycle, but you have to start it. Nobody's coming to push you. Nobody's coming to make it easy. This is on you. And that's actually empowering because it means you're in control. You have everything you need right now to start. Not to finish. Not to be perfect, but to start. And starting is the hardest part. Once you're in motion, it gets easier. Once you see progress, you build confidence. Once you build confidence, you take bigger action. But it all begins with one decision followed by one action. That's it. Decide and act. Decide and act over and over until you've built the life you want. Stop waiting for permission. Stop waiting for the perfect plan. Stop waiting to feel ready. Just start. Your identity is holding you back. You've created a story about who you are, and you're protecting that story instead of evolving beyond it. I'm not a morning person. I'm not good with money. I'm just not disciplined. I'm not the type to work out. These are stories, not facts. Stories. And the reason you keep telling them is because they give you permission to stay the same. They absolve you of responsibility. If you're not a morning person, you don't have to wake up early. If you're not good with money, you don't have to learn financial literacy. If you're not disciplined, you don't have to build discipline. But here's the truth. Your personality is not fixed. Dr. Benjamin Hardy's research proves this. You're not just the way you are. You're the result of your environment and your choices. Change your environment, change your choices, and you change your identity. You can become a morning person. You can become wealthy. You can become disciplined. You can become healthy. You can become successful. Not overnight, not easily, but absolutely definitively, yes. Stop clinging to an outdated version of yourself. That person who failed, that was old you. That person who quit, that was old you. That person who didn't believe in themselves, that was old you. Who are you now? Who are you becoming? Because every single day, you're either reinforcing your old identity or building a new one. Every choice is a vote for the person you're becoming. Every action is either confirming who you were or creating who you'll be. So who are you voting for today? The person who makes excuses or the person who makes progress? The person who stays comfortable or the person who grows through discomfort? You get to decide right now in this moment. Let me talk to you about focus because you're distracted and it's killing your dreams. Cal Newport wrote Deep Work to explain that the ability to focus without distraction is becoming rare and therefore increasingly valuable. But you're checking your phone 150 times a day. You're getting interrupted by notifications every 3 minutes. You're multitasking, which neuroscience shows is impossible. You're actually task switching, which reduces your productivity by 40%. Your attention is being hijacked by tech companies that profit from your distraction. Every app is designed to keep you scrolling, clicking, engaging, and you wonder why you can't finish anything. You wonder why you start projects but never complete them. You wonder why you're always busy but never productive. It's because you've lost the ability to focus deeply on one thing for an extended period. The most successful people protect their attention fiercely. They have phone-free hours. They batch their tasks. They create environments conducive to deep work. They understand that focus is a competitive advantage. If you can do deep, concentrated work for 4 hours a day, you'll accomplish more than most people do in a month. But if you're constantly distracted, you'll be busy all day and have nothing to show for it. So turn off notifications. Put your phone in another room. Block distracting websites. Time block your calendar. Create rituals that signal to your brain, now we focus, and commit to at least 2 hours of deep work every day. No phone, no distractions. Just you and the most important work you need to do. That's how you get ahead. That's how you build something meaningful. Not by doing more things, but by doing fewer things with complete focus. Let me tell you something that's going to sting. Most of your suffering is self-inflicted. The drama in your life, you're creating it. The chaos, you're allowing it. The toxic relationships, you're staying in them. The financial stress, you're making decisions that cause it. I'm not saying everything is your fault. Bad things happen. Life is unfair. People hurt you. Circumstances occur beyond your control. But your response, that's on you. Viktor Frankl, who survived Auschwitz, said, "Between stimulus and response, there is a space, and that space is our power to choose our response. In our response lies our growth and our freedom. You have more power than you're using." You're playing victim when you could be playing victor. You're blaming circumstances when you could be creating solutions. And making excuses when you could be making progress. And the reason you keep doing this is because victim mentality is comfortable. It absolves you of responsibility. It gives you someone to blame. It makes you the center of a tragedy. But here's what it costs: your power, your agency, your future. The moment you take 100% responsibility for your life, everything changes. Not because your circumstances change immediately, but because your relationship to them changes. You stop asking, "Why is this happening to me?" and start asking, "What can I do about this?" You stop waiting for someone to save you and start saving yourself. You stop looking for who to blame and start looking for what to learn. This is radical responsibility. This is ownership. And it's the only way to create real, lasting change. Stop being a victim of your life and start being the architect of it. Purpose is not something you find, it's something you build. So many people are waiting for some cosmic revelation, some magical moment when their purpose becomes clear. That's not how it works. Purpose emerges through action, through trying things, through serving people, through paying attention to what makes you feel alive. Ikigai is a Japanese concept that means reason for being. It's found at the intersection of four things: what you love, what you're good at, what the world needs, and what you can be paid for. Most people only focus on one or two of these. They do what they're good at but hate it, or they do what they love but can't make money from it. Purpose exists where all four overlap. So start experimenting. Try different things. Serve different people. Develop different skills. And pay attention. What activities make you lose track of time? What problems do you feel compelled to solve? What do people come to you for help with? What would you do even if you didn't get paid? The answers to these questions will point you toward your purpose, but you can't think your way there. You have to act your way there. Simon Sinek talks about start with why. Knowing your deeper motivation beyond money. Why do you do what you do? What impact do you want to have? What legacy do you want to leave? If you don't have clear answers, that's okay, but start exploring. Because life without purpose is just existence. You're going through the motions, you're surviving instead of thriving. But when you find purpose or build it, everything changes. You wake up energized. Challenges become meaningful. Work doesn't feel like work. You're not just making a living, you're making a difference. And that's what we're all really searching for. Consistency beats intensity every time. Everyone wants the dramatic transformation story. The person who lost 100 pounds in 6 months. The person who made $1 million in a year. But those stories are rare and they're not sustainable. What actually works is boring consistency. Showing up every day, doing the work even when you don't feel like it, making small incremental progress that compounds over time. This is why most people fail. They go hard for 2 weeks, see minimal results, and quit. They don't understand that success is built in the unsexy middle, in the months and years of consistent, repeated action that nobody sees and nobody celebrates. You don't need to be perfect. You need to be consistent. You don't need to do everything. You need to do something every day. Reading 10 pages daily doesn't seem like much, but it's 3,650 pages a year, roughly 12 books. Working out 30 minutes a day doesn't seem transformative, but it's 182 hours of exercise a year. Saving $10 daily doesn't feel significant, but it's $3,650 a year plus compound interest. These small actions seem meaningless in isolation, but compounded over time, they're life-changing. The problem is, your brain doesn't value delayed gratification. It wants immediate rewards. So it tells you that missing one day doesn't matter. And it's right. Missing one day doesn't matter. But missing one day becomes missing 1 week, becomes missing 1 month, becomes quitting altogether. You need to develop what Angela Duckworth calls grit, the combination of passion and perseverance toward long-term goals. Not just working hard, but working hard consistently over time, even when progress isn't visible. That's the real superpower. Not talent, not intelligence, consistency. Let's talk about rest, because hustle culture has you convinced that rest is weakness. That if you're not grinding 24/7, you're not serious. That's nonsense. Rest is not the opposite of productivity. It's a component of it. Your body and brain need recovery. Athletes understand this. They don't train at max intensity every day. They have rest days because that's when muscles actually grow. Your brain works the same way. Dr. Alex Sujun Kim Pang wrote, "Rest, why you get more done when you work less," showing that the world's most creative and productive people had one thing in common. They took rest seriously. They took walks, they napped, they had hobbies, they deliberately unplugged. Because rest isn't doing nothing. Rest is active recovery that allows your brain to process, consolidate, and create. Ever notice how your best ideas come in the shower? That's because your brain is in diffuse mode, making connections it can't make when you're focused. So if you're burnt out, exhausted, and unproductive, more hustle isn't the answer. Strategic rest is. And I'm not talking about scrolling social media for 3 hours. That's not rest. That's distraction. Real rest is walking in nature, reading fiction, playing with your kids, having a conversation without checking your phone, taking a nap, meditation. Anything that allows your nervous system to downregulate and your brain to wander. Elon Musk works insane hours, but even he says he performs better with 6 to 7 hours of sleep. Arianna Huffington collapsed from exhaustion and now advocates for sleep as a productivity tool. Bill Gates takes think weeks where he disconnects completely. Rest isn't lazy. Rest is strategic. Build it into your routine, or your body will force it through burnout, illness, or breakdown. Relationships determine the quality of your life. Dr. Robert Waldinger, who runs the Harvard Study of Adult Development, the longest study on happiness, says the number one predictor of happiness and health isn't money, fame, or success. It's relationships. The quality of your relationships at age 50 predicts your health at age 80. People with strong relationships live longer, have less disease, and report greater life satisfaction. But we're living in the loneliest time in human history. We have thousands of online connections, but few real relationships. We're more connected than ever, but feel isolated. Why? Because real relationships require time, vulnerability, and presence. You can't build deep connection through likes and comments. You need face-to-face time. You need vulnerable conversations. You need to show up when it's inconvenient. So evaluate your relationships. Are they reciprocal? Do they energize or drain you? Do they bring out your best or worst? Some relationships need to end. Some need boundaries. Some need more investment. And you need to build new ones. Join communities. Attend events. Be intentional about connecting. And with the relationships that matter, go deep. Have real conversations. Share your struggles, not just your highlights. Ask questions. Listen without trying to fix. Be present without your phone. Show up consistently. Because at the end of your life, you won't remember the hours you worked or the money you made. You'll remember the people you loved and who loved you. You'll remember the conversations, the laughter, the shared experiences. Don't sacrifice relationships for success. Real success includes thriving relationships. Let me tell you about delayed gratification, because this is what separates the successful from the struggling. The famous marshmallow test studied children's ability to resist immediate gratification. Those who could wait for the second marshmallow have better life outcomes decades later, better grades, better health, better relationships. Why? Because life rewards those who can delay gratification, saving money instead of spending it, working out instead of watching TV, building a business instead of partying every weekend, reading instead of scrolling. These choices aren't fun in the moment, but compounded over time, they create an extraordinary life. The problem is, we're wired for immediate pleasure. Your brain releases dopamine when you get instant rewards. Social media exploits this. Fast food exploits this. Shopping exploits this. You're being manipulated into choosing short-term pleasure over long-term success. And every time you do, you're voting for a mediocre future. So you need to rewire your reward system. Celebrate the delayed wins. Get excited about saving money, not spending it. Feel proud after a workout, not guilty for skipping it. Find pleasure in the process, not just the outcome. Because here's the secret. Successful people aren't more disciplined because they have better willpower. They've simply learned to find satisfaction in delayed gratification. They get a dopamine hit from making progress, not from instant pleasure. They feel good about doing hard things, not avoiding them. You can develop this too. Start small. Choose the delayed reward once today, then again tomorrow. Your brain will adapt, and eventually you'll prefer the path that leads to lasting success over the path that leads to temporary comfort. Money doesn't solve money problems. Character solves money problems. This is why lottery winners go broke. They get the money without developing the character to manage it. Jay-Z has a line, "I can't help the poor if I'm one of them, so I got rich and gave back." You can't be generous if you're broke. You can't create impact without resources. You can't build generational wealth without financial education. So yes, pursue wealth, but do it with the right motivation. Not to flex on Instagram, not to prove something to people who don't care, but to create freedom, security, impact, and legacy. And as you build wealth, build character simultaneously. Develop integrity. Be honest in your dealings. Honor your commitments. Treat people well, especially those who can't do anything for you. Be generous when you have little, so you'll be generous when you have much. Because money amplifies who you already are. If you're insecure poor, you'll be insecure rich. If you're unhappy poor, you'll be unhappy rich. If you're generous poor, you'll be generous rich. This is why inner work is non-negotiable. Get therapy. Work on your issues. Heal your relationship with money. Understand your money scripts. The beliefs about money you inherited from your parents and society. Do you believe money is evil? That rich people are greedy? That you'll never have enough? These unconscious beliefs are sabotaging you. Replace them. Money is neutral. It's a tool. It amplifies your character. Rich people aren't evil. Poverty of character is evil. And you absolutely can build wealth ethically while helping others. In fact, that's the only kind of wealth worth having. So pursue it with purpose, build it with integrity, use it with wisdom, and leave a legacy that outlives you. Your standards determine your life, not your goals, not your wishes, your standards. The level of quality you demand from yourself. If your standard is mediocrity, you'll create a mediocre life. If your standard is excellence, you'll create an excellent life. Tony Robbins says, the only thing that's keeping you from getting what you want is the story you keep telling yourself. You say you want six-pack abs, but your standard is eating whatever you want. You say you want wealth, but your standard is spending everything you make. You say you want great relationships, but your standard is tolerating disrespect. There's a gap between what you say you want and what you're willing to tolerate, and that gap is your current reality. So raise your standards. Decide what you're no longer available for. I'm no longer available for toxic relationships. I'm no longer available for unfulfilling work. I'm no longer available for mediocre health. I'm no longer available for financial stress. When you raise your standards, your entire life reorganizes around those new standards. You make different choices. You attract different people. You create different results. But here's the catch. Raising your standards is uncomfortable. Your environment will resist. People will try to pull you back. Your brain will create fear. You have to be willing to lose people, opportunities, and comfort to gain alignment with your higher standards. Not everyone will understand. Not everyone will support you. And that's okay. You're not living for them. You're living for the highest version of yourself. So set the standard. Then become the person who lives at that standard. Not because you have to, but because you refuse to settle for less than you deserve. Legacy is built daily. Not in grand gestures, but in small, consistent actions that reflect your values. Every interaction is shaping how people will remember you. Every decision is writing your story. So what story are you writing? Are you writing a story of someone who talked about dreams but never pursued them? Or someone who took action despite fear? Are you writing a story of someone who blamed circumstances? Or someone who took responsibility? Are you writing a story of someone who stayed comfortable? Or someone who grew through discomfort? Your legacy isn't what you say. It's what you do. It's how you treat people when nobody's watching. It's the values you live by when it's inconvenient. It's the example you set for your children, your community, your world. Maya Angelou said, people will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel. How are you making people feel? Are you lifting them up or tearing them down? Are you adding value or extracting it? Are you being the person you'd want to be remembered as? Start living like your grandchildren will one day ask about you. What will they hear? That you were kind? That you worked hard? That you helped people? That you stood for something? Or that you were bitter, lazy, selfish, and stood for nothing? Your legacy is being built right now, in this moment, with this choice. Don't wait until the end of your life to think about legacy. Build it now. Live it now. Be the person you want to be remembered as today. Because legacy isn't what you leave behind when you die. It's what you create while you're alive. Pain is inevitable. Suffering is optional. Life will hurt you. People will disappoint you. You'll face setbacks, losses, failures, betrayals. That's pain. But suffering, the story you tell yourself about the pain, the dwelling, the bitterness, the victim mentality, that's optional. Buddhist philosophy teaches this distinction. Pain is part of being human. Suffering is what happens when we resist pain instead of processing it, when we fight reality instead of accepting it, when we ask why me instead of what now. Dr. Edith Eger, a Holocaust survivor and therapist, wrote The Choice about how even in Auschwitz, she found freedom by choosing her response to circumstances she couldn't control. You can't control what happens to you, but you can control what you do with it. You can let it destroy you, or you can let it develop you. You can become bitter or better, victimized or victorious, stuck or transformed. The choice is always yours. And yes, some pain requires time to heal. Grief isn't something you get over in a week. Trauma isn't something you just power through. Take the time you need, get support, process the emotions. But don't set up camp in your pain. Don't build your identity around your suffering. Don't let the worst thing that happened to you become the only thing about you. You are more than your pain. You are more than your past. You are a person with agency, with potential, with power. And once you've processed the pain, once you've learned the lesson, it's time to release it and move forward. Not because the pain wasn't real, but because your future is calling, and it needs you to show up whole, healed, and ready to build something beautiful from the broken pieces. Comparison is killing your joy and your progress. Theodore Roosevelt said, "Comparison is the thief of joy." And in the age of social media, it's worse than ever. You're comparing your behind the scenes to everyone else's highlight reel. You see their success, but not their struggles. Their wins, but not their failures. Their breakthroughs, but not their breakdowns. And you feel like you're behind, like you're not enough, like everyone else has it figured out except you. But here's reality. Everyone is struggling with something. Everyone has doubts. Everyone has fears. Everyone has days where they want to quit. The difference is successful people don't broadcast their struggles. They process them privately and post the victory. So you're getting a distorted view of what success actually looks like. Stop comparing your chapter 3 to someone else's chapter 20. You don't know what they went through to get there. You don't know what they sacrificed. You don't know how many times they failed before they succeeded. Run your own race. Compete with who you were yesterday, not who someone else is today. Are you better than you were last month? Last year? That's the only comparison that matters. Celebrate other people's success instead of envying it. Their win doesn't mean you lose. There's abundance for everyone. Their success proves what's possible, not what's impossible for you. Use their journey as inspiration, not intimidation. And most importantly, get off social media if it's making you feel inadequate. Or at least curate your feed to include people who inspire rather than depress you. Your mental health is more important than staying connected to people who make you feel less than. Protect your peace. Protect your progress. Focus on your own lane. You're one decision away from a completely different life. Not one decision that fixes everything instantly, but one decision that starts a chain reaction. The decision to finally get help for your mental health. The decision to end a toxic relationship. The decision to start that business. The decision to commit to your health. The decision to forgive. The decision to invest in yourself. One decision can change your trajectory, but you keep delaying it. You keep saying, "I'll do it later," when you know later never comes. You keep waiting for the perfect moment when you know the perfect moment doesn't exist. You keep making excuses when you know they're just fears dressed up as logic. So make the decision today, right now, the decision that deep down you know you need to make. the one you've been avoiding because it's scary or uncomfortable or requires change. Make it. Don't overthink it. Don't negotiate with yourself. Don't create an elaborate plan. Just decide and then take one small action on that decision today. Not tomorrow, today. Because decisions without action are just wishes. And you're done wishing. You're ready to become. You're ready to build. You're ready to transform. I know you are, because you're still here. You're still listening. That means something in you knows there's more available to you. Something in you knows you're capable of greater things. Trust that voice. Honor that knowing. And take the leap. Will it be easy? No. Will it be worth it? Absolutely. Because the regret of never trying is far worse than the pain of trying and failing. Make the decision. Take the action. Start the chain reaction. Your future self will thank you. Forgiveness is not for them. It's for you. You're holding on to anger, resentment, and bitterness, thinking you're punishing them. But they've moved on. They're living their life. And you're stuck, replaying the hurt, reliving the betrayal, rehearsing the argument. Dr. Fred Luskin, who runs Stanford's Forgiveness Project, has proven that forgiveness improves mental health, reduces anxiety and depression, lowers blood pressure, and strengthens relationships. Holding grudges is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. It doesn't hurt them, it hurts you. So forgive, not because they deserve it, but because you deserve peace. Not because what they did was okay, but because you're tired of carrying the weight. Forgiveness doesn't mean reconciliation. You can forgive someone and still maintain boundaries. You can forgive someone and never speak to them again. Forgiveness is an internal release of negative emotions, not an external restoration of relationship. It's saying, what you did hurt me, but I'm no longer going to let it control me. It's reclaiming your power. It's choosing freedom over bondage. And if you're struggling to forgive, start with yourself. Most people are carrying shame, guilt, and regret about their own past mistakes. You did the best you could with what you knew at the time. You're not the same person you were. You've grown. You've learned. So extend grace to your past self. Forgive your mistakes. Release the shame and move forward with wisdom and compassion. Because you can't build a beautiful future while dragging around a painful past. Let it go. Not because it's easy, but because it's necessary. Your peace depends on it. You're not going to feel like it. Let me just say that up front. You're not going to feel like waking up early, eating healthy, working out, saving money, building your business, having hard conversations, or doing anything that requires discipline and delayed gratification. You're going to feel like staying in bed, eating comfort food, scrolling your phone, spending money, and avoiding anything uncomfortable. That feeling will never go away. So stop waiting to feel motivated. Stop waiting to feel ready. Stop waiting to feel inspired. Feelings follow action, not the other way around. David Goggins, former Navy SEAL and ultramarathon runner, talks about choosing your mind. You do hard things when you don't want to, so that when life gets hard, you have the mental toughness to push through. Every time you do something you don't feel like doing, you're building that callus. You're proving to yourself that feelings don't control you. You control feelings. This is freedom. When you're no longer a slave to your emotions, to your moods, to your circumstances, you become unstoppable. Rain or shine, good day or bad day, motivated or not motivated, you show up and do the work. That's integrity. That's discipline. That's what creates extraordinary results. So the next time you don't feel like doing something you know you should do, recognize that as the exact moment to do it. Not despite the resistance, but because of it. Because every time you push through resistance, you get stronger. Every time you ignore the voice that says, not today, you build character. And character is what carries you when motivation runs out. Motivation gets you started. Discipline keeps you going. Build the discipline. Do the thing, especially when you don't feel like it. Here's your final truth. You already know what you need to do. Deep down, beneath all the confusion and overthinking, you know which relationship needs to end. You know which habit needs to change. You know which dream needs pursuing. You know which conversation needs having. You know which risk needs taken. You know. The problem isn't information. You have enough information. The problem is implementation. You're not doing what you know. And the gap between knowing and doing is where your life is stuck. So stop searching for more answers. Stop consuming more content. Stop waiting for more clarity. You have everything you need right now to take the next step. Just one step. Not the whole staircase. Just the next step. And once you take that step, the next one will reveal itself. That's how this works. Clarity comes through action, not before it. So what's your next step? What's the one thing you know you need to do but have been avoiding? That's your answer. That's your assignment. That's your breakthrough waiting to happen. Do it today, right now. Stop reading and start doing. Your transformation isn't found in the next video, the next book, or the next seminar. It's found in the decision you make right now to finally become the person you've been talking about becoming. Let's go.